Hello, storytellers and readers. Welcome to another episode of I'll Read That, the show where your stories get heard. Whether you're an unpublished author, a self published independent, or just someone with an awesome story that you want heard, this is your space to shine. In each of these episodes, I'll be reading your submitted story out loud, giving it a voice, a platform, and most importantly, you a chance to grow. You'll get feedback from other writers, readers, and just creatives to help you sharpen your craft and take that story to the next level. So, if you've been wanting and waiting for someone to read your story, you found your place. Submit your story, get heard, and let's grow this together. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you've got something worth sharing, you already know what to do. So, Chapter 19, Thassodar Jax, Galactic Ranger by David Jace. Back on Ambassador Visu's ship, Thassodar and Valentina waited for Visu in his office while he gave orders to the crew. How did you find me, Valentina? Oh, well, remember when I shot you with a bio-tracker? Thassodar closed his eyes and shook his head. Let's just pretend it was a lucky guess. How humiliating. He would have to get that tracker out as soon as he got back to his headquarters. Though he had to admit it had come in useful. Maybe we should just inject Valentina with one instead. At least then they would be even. Well, however you found me, thank you. I had given up hope. She smiled and it warmed him. Don't mention it. The door hissed open and Visu entered, taking his seat behind his desk. We'll reach your headquarters shortly. It is daylight now, so we're taking a slower, more surreptitious route in order to avoid human observance. I assume that policy is still in effect, Ranger. Yes, we want to minimize the awareness of the general population to this situation, and our larger position, Thassodar responded. Wait, interrupted Valentina. We're going to headquarters? Where else would we go? I've got work to do. I have to find where they are stealing humans' life energy, send a report to Captain Ashupa, and ask for reinforcements, and devise a plan to take them down. Valentina bit her lip. Something in her look said wasn't going to be good. Something in her look said wasn't going to be good news. Thassodar, your house is trashed. They freed Grote and wrecked everything. Nothing will even turn on. It's like there's no power. They basically emptied the gear room too. Thassodar's shoulders slumped. He should have anticipated that. He needed to assess the damage anyways. Maybe there was something they overlooked. I still need new uniforms. Do you wish to conduct your superiors to advise them of the situation? Ambassador Visu offered. Yes, that would be quite helpful. Thassodar made the call and was able to speak directly with the captain Bjorma Ashupa. The closest available ships were days away. Captain, what about the prison? I know they aren't rangers exactly, but it isn't public knowledge, Jax. But the prison break wasn't clean. Their ships are grounded, and the communication systems are barely functioning. They have their hands full of maintenance orders, in addition to repairs. I understand. Thassodar thanked the captain and requested what urgency he could extend. He closed the call. Ambassador, I know this isn't your fight, but would you mind taking the prisoner, or Nunda's Grote, off-world and turning him over to the authorities? I'd prefer to get him away from the situation as quickly as possible. We do not have a brig, but I can place him in a room under guard. The prison is not too distant. I will also use my limited diplomatic influence to request reinforcements. Thank you. That would be appreciated, though. I know how slowly those wheels can turn. I have to stop this before more people die. We have to stop this, Valentina interjected. We, Thassodar nodded at his new junior partner. Lomax said they were going to accelerate his operation. I fear that means the number of humans involved is going to go up exponentially. We have to figure out where they've run to. Can your computers and stuff back at your house find out? Can your computers and stuff back at your house find out? Hopefully, it's our best shot at finding them. Thassodar leaned back in the comfortable chair and closed his eyes. He was certainly more relaxed in this office than the last time he'd been here. Ambassador, I've been wanting to ask, what is this? Thassodar opened his eyes and saw Ambassador, I've been wanting to ask, what is this? Thassodar opened his eyes and saw Valentina standing, pointing at the cube of twisting energy on Visu's desk. Valentina, that could be rude. It's fine, Ranger. Cultural exchange and understanding requires questions. Visu reached out and brushed his fingers across the surface. This contains the life energy of my parents. Thassodar sat up straighter. You killed your parents? You killed your parents and stuck their energy in a box? Valentina sounded only slightly more horrified than Thassodar himself felt. By no means, Valentina. I have only one parent. When Vendosians die, their life energy is collected and entrusted to their offspring. When they are ready to have offspring, they recycle their parents' energy to create a new life. Thassodar and Valentina stared at the cube in stunned silence for a few minutes. Vicious traced his fingers around the cube, and the energy inside seemed to react to the presence of his fingers. Thassodar finally recovered from this information. That sounds beautiful, Ambassador. It is merely the way of life for us. However, we have realized that it is also detrimental to our species. Our life energy grows gradually weaker as the generations go by, and occasionally, a family line is lost forever when someone's life energy cannot be collected. How would that happen? Vishu pulled his hand away from the cube and looked up. Dying off planet or in open space mostly. Leaving our world has dangerous consequences. This is why it does not happen often. Few are willing to take the risk. The door hissed open, and Hado Benzo, the personal assistant, entered. Ambassador, we've arrived at the Rangers' headquarters. The trio left the office, but Thassodar had more respect for the ambassador and his crew. He suspected Valentina had broadened her understanding of life, based on her unusual, thoughtful silence. The ship had landed in Thassodar's backyard, but something felt strange. Before he even reached the building, he found the garage door wide open, as was the inner door from the garage. Both had blast marks around the lock mechanism. Inside, the lights in the house were off and did not turn on as they entered. He tried to activate the house control panel on the wall, but it was non-responsive. Thassodar picked up a ball from the floor and confirmed his suspicion. An EMP grenade. Everything in the house. Excuse me. An EMP grenade. Everything in the house will be non-functional. He checked the gear room and would have thrown something in frustration had there been anything left in there to throw. It was empty. Even if they'd left anything, the EMP would have ruined it. He checked his sleeping quarters. It was a mess. Clothes and blankets tossed around. The cell had been free had been to free the cell had been to free growth. The gear room was strategic. This was just for fun and personal. The moving image of his academy classmates was in pieces on the floor, presumably stomped on. The hollow image of Bjormi melted, a twisted blob on the counter. The wall behind it scorched. It had been blasted where it stood. Thassodar, I'm sorry. Valentina had entered the room behind him. It isn't your fault. I was careless. He didn't look at her. He kept his face passive. He tried not to let the maelstrom within show on the outside. He would cry when he was alone again. He selected a new uniform from the pile of tossed clothing, boots from the clutter of broken shelves, and personal items in the closet, and carefully folded his father's coat, which he'd found tossed in the shower. He returned to the common area where Valentina and the ambassador were waiting. Ranger Jax, since your prisoner is no longer here, myself and my crew have nowhere urgent to be. We are at your service. I'd appreciate the chance to bathe, if it's in no imposition. I'll have Hado Benzo prepare you both some quarters. Visu returned to the ship. Thassodar, it isn't much, but I grabbed some gear before I left. It's in the saddlebags of your motorcycle on the ship. That's helpful, thank you, Valentina. Thassodar took a deep breath, looking around. I owe you an apology, by the way. I stranded you here when I should have included you in my plans. I'm sorry. It's okay. Valentina punched him in the arm. Let's just figure out how to save the world. He nodded and they headed back to the ship. In his temporary quarters, Thassodar showered and changed into his ranger uniform, dark as a black hole, with starlit stripes on the sleeves and thighs. Both pants and shirt were made from the same reinforced defensive material as the hooded jacket he'd given Valentina. He slid his feet into the boots, which did not have the excellent aerobatic abilities. I'm so sorry. He slid his feet into the boots, which did not have the excellent aerobatic abilities of the previous set, but were a lot better than being barefoot. He slipped into his father's long jacket he'd brought to Earth with him. The shoulders were ribbed metal and the cuffs were trimmed with black silver. He didn't have a bunch of fancy gadgets built into it, but it was a traveler's coat, which meant lots of pockets. He left his room to join the others in the conference room. Valentina had laid out all the gadgets she'd picked up on the table: two mobile trackers, an EMP grenade like the one they use in his house, a Nova flashlight, a collapsible rope rod, an NEI pistol, a pair of radio binoculars, a can opener, a laser knife, two sets of magna cuffs, and a warp implosive device. Thassodar picked up the last item and held it up to Valentina. Where did you get this? What is it? A bomb that I confiscated from someone a while back. It's dangerous. That must be why it was in your safe. How did you get into my safe? I guessed the combination. She lowered her voice to a whisper. 36, 24, 36. Ring any bells? Thassodar put the device back on the table instead of commenting. Those numbers could mean anything. We might just need that. He surveyed the table again. It isn't much for taking on that crew. The door hissed open, and Visyu's two guards. I have no idea what's going on with me. The door hissed open, and Visyu's two guards entered, laying more equipment on the other end of the table. What's all that? Weapons, Visyu replied. You're going to need reinforcements. We will accompany you. Thassodar looked back and forth between the three of them. Ambassador, I can't ask you to do this. This isn't your fight. Ranger, fights do not belong to people. They belong to those who choose them and those who have no choice. You are not asking us to do this. We are choosing to. I can't let you take that risk. I'm a ranger. This is Valentina's home planet. But you are just visitors here, and putting your life on the line means risking your entire family line. We took that risk already just by leaving our world. We have already accepted this risk. Risk is inherent of any gamble when one hopes to gain something. However, this is not a gamble, but a moral necessity. How could we hope to be a part of the galactic society if we will not act to defend it? How could we ask the humans to work with us if we do not respect their right to life? Thassodar nodded. There was more to Ambassador Visyu and the Vendosians than he had known. Welcome to the team, then. The addition of the ambassador's armaments and fighters eased his worries about firepower, but they still had another problem. We still have to figure out where to bring this fight. I will have Jax scan for signs of energy acquisition processing. It requires very specific and powerful elements, especially to separate the energies unwillingly. My people happen to have significant expertise in this area. Do we know how they are traveling? Lomax uses a small, low-atmosphere shuttle when he wants to get around on planet. I can provide you the specs, Thassodar offered. Give them to Kimney on the bridge. He will search for it. What can I do? Valentina asked. Thassodar considered for a moment. Figure out how we defeat a fast Olympian, a tentacled cephalopod, a four-armed brute, and a sadistic gymnast, a sociopath, with what we have here on the table. He left the room to her wide-eyed, open-mouthed stare. Okay, that's the end of chapter 19. I am super apologetic. I don't know. I woke up early this morning, so I'm sorry about the yawning. Only critique in this chapter was there has to be a rewrite in the middle. Valentina's already told Jax that his house is trashed Grote is gone, all that detail. There's a section where he's like talking to the Galactic Council, can you take Grote? And Visu, can you take Grote? Grote's gone. So either 86 the Valentina comments or 86 the conversation between Visu and Thassodar about taking on Grote and the Galactic Alliance or whatever, but that needs to be completely reworked and retooled in that section there. If you have a story that's just dying to be read, I want to read it. Send me your unpublished or self-published works, stories, novels, short stories, poems, whatever you have, to the email address in the description below, and you might be featured in an upcoming episode of I'll Read That. Let's build this community where writers are supporting writers and everybody's story has the option of being heard. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback could help another writer develop and grow. So, as always, folks, keep writing, and I'll read that.
I'll read that, a story to be told.